thought, express your thoughts. Pour it all out. You can even recommend the kind of punishment you want God to give the guy. It's part of releasing your emotions. Don't worry, God understands. It's there. What God does to you is to start calming you down. After you have spoken, don't get up. Stay there. The first thing He does is to give you a rocking. I know how it feels, huh? Then while He's giving you a rocking, the prophet said it could take you into such a realm for you to begin to see what that fellow went through to have misbehaved towards you. So before you leave the presence of God, you will be feeling sorry for the man you wanted God to deal with. There is no mortal man that can go before God and condemn another fellow mortal man. So when Stephen, in the pains of death, looked up to heaven, the Bible said heaven opened. If heaven opened, it was for a conversation. God must have told Stephen, calm down. You see, that guy is one of you. He's still a Saul, but Paul is inside. Don't do something that will hinder him from metamorphosing, because he won't die as Saul. That's not my picture of him. He's going to come up as Paul. Make it easy on him. And this was what helped Stephen to speak like his mother on the cross. Lord, lay it not to their charge. Now watch. When Saul eventually became Paul, he had one sore point all through his life. However great he was used, whatever great things he did, he was always regretting his persecution of the church. Now, what if he had these haunted memories of Stephen saying, God, require my blood from this guy? It would not have been easy on Paul throughout his Christian journey. This is why Christ taught us to forgive. Sometimes the husband needs the forgiveness of the wife. The wife needs that of the husband. The children to parents. Parents to children. Brothers to brothers. Sisters to sisters. Or even brother to sister. Sister to brother. Pastor to the church. Church to the pastor. And we must give it. I close with this. You must have the revelation of forgiveness. When anything wrong takes place, you must know who is responsible. It's not your brother. It's the devil. The devil can operate until he gets a vessel. So also God cannot operate until he gets a vessel. And don't expect much also from an unbeliever. Because the prophet said any good they do is a mistake. That is why when you do things wrong, it's a mistake. You are doing something contrary to your makeup. So the expectation of the unbeliever is very low. And you must always know this, that God may allow somebody to do something just to watch your reaction. Tony Zabel, a very close deacon to the prophet, almost neared the prophet in the matter of the squirrels. Permit me to say this before I stop. When the Lord asked the prophet to ask for the squirrels, because he talked so much about the provision of God for Abraham until God decided to bless him. Now, there were 2 occasions of the squirrels, but each time the prophet asked for 3, making 6. But 6 is not God's perfect number. In the providence of God, he wanted to give him 7. But Brother Bram asked only for 6. Then on the second set occasion, the prophet was sharing the joy of it with the brethren. But something happened on that second occasion. He asked for the first one, he shot it. Bah, he got it. He asked for the second one, he shot it. He got it. When he shot the third, the second one, when he shot the second, he thought he got it. He went to look for it, he couldn't find. He asked for the third, he shot, he got it. To him, 2/3 was a pass mark. So, he couldn't find that third one, and he started going, and God said, hey, excuse me, you asked for 3. And he said, well, I thought I shot the third one, I didn't say. So you can ask for another one. Then he asked now for the 7th one, the 4th in the second occasion, and he got it. So he got his 3, and he went home testifying. He talked about the one he believed he shot, but he never saw it. And he said, well, let's leave that. Maybe I was the one who thought I shot it, but it's not there. We have our 3, let's rejoice. And when the brethren were to pray, it was Brother Tony that was asked to pray. And Brother Tony began to pray, oh God, that we might know thy servant is telling the truth. Eh, you shouted. Aha! That must have been the shock of the rest of the brethren and even the prophet himself. A man who had walked with the prophet all his life and still doubting his claims. But that was done intentionally. And when he finished prayer, Brother Bram said, Tony, you got it all wrong. I didn't say, I said, Brother Bram, you must sit down, you must get out of that squirrel. He went home on that. And it was a trouble for the prophet through the night. And God wasn't making it easy. He said, Tony will not believe you if you can't find that squirrel. So before the day broke, the prophet went back to the wood, start looking for the squirrel. He looked for it, he couldn't find it. I believe that noise will have echoed. Tony will not believe you. He went back. He looked for it, he couldn't find it. Tony will not believe. Then when God saw the travail of his servant, he said, if it is not there, you don't have to shoot again. You can speak. And Brother Brown said, I shall find it here. And wait, he went there. He couldn't find it again. He started going. God said, you have spoken. Go back. And he went there. He got the last squirrel. Making 7. Perfection, completion. Now, I had findings from old timers. Some of who were there. And they said, they were asking Brother Tony, but why would you pray or say a thing like that? Tony denied ever praying like that. He said, not me. Not me. They said, Brother Bram said, keep quiet. I know what is happening. It was the Lord allowing him to give me a test. Just as what happened in New England, wherein a young girl and a young boy sat in the front row, were messing themselves up right in the presence of God. And the prophet said, stop it. The more he said stop, the more they were doing. Until the grace of God came down and said, speak anything, it shall come. And he was wondering what to say. If he told them to dry off and die, they will die. The law will arrest nobody. Because when they perform the autopsy, they will only see the finger of God. When Ananias and Sapphira died, autopsy cannot pick Peter. It will only pick the word. So nobody will be arrested. But do you know what the prophet said? He said, I forgive you. And that turned around everything. Then the prophet said, see, he wants me to forgive. It said, you can't carry this level of grace without having forgiveness in your heart. So if you want to be able to speak to your own mountain, look at what the scripture said. And bring your praises and your offerings. He said, before you do it, if you have ought, go do what? Forgive. The power to the third pole lays in forgiveness. It will be your ripening to maturity. It will be your coming to adoption. Last line. How many remember Job? His friend dealt so hard with him. But the biggest temptation of Job was not his trials. Take it from me. When God came down and stopped the trials, don't forget, no problem was coming again, but he hasn't recovered anything lost. So there is healing and there is recovery. Now, before there could be a recovery, Job must go through the last one. His friends, who were miserable comforters, who made him feel he was a sinner, God went to them and said, look, you didn't represent me right. Time will fail me to tell you how they came about that position too. It's part of one-sided gospel, but the pastors will do justice to that. All right. He said, now, that guy you call the secret sinner, the three of you must go to him and let him pray for you. For only him will I accept. So Job has the monopoly of your acceptance before me. That was his biggest temptation. If Job never prayed for them, God will never accept them. Meaning they will never be redeemed, they will never be delivered. Look at what if Job had said, you people cause me so much pain. So it is now me that's a secret sinner that God says you must come to be accepted. I will keep it. If he did, he will enjoy no recovery. Because the Bible said in Job chapter 42 verse 10 that the Lord visited Job and restored all things only after he has prayed for his friends. May the Lord bless you.